Italy has a volcano that once created a brand new island. Then the island vanished, and the volcano is still erupting underwater right now. That's the kind of country we're dealing with. This isn't about pasta and postcards. You are about to hear 25 facts that sound fake, petty, or straight up impossible, but every single one is real. Borders running through dinner tables, rivers that disappear, cities that use canals like streets, and laws that protect towns nobody lives in anymore. Let's start with Italy's borders doing geometry gymnastics. Italy does not just look like a boot, it acts like one that stepped into two other countries. Inside Italian territory, completely surrounded, you have San Marino and Vatican City. They are full sovereign states, but you never actually leave Italy's landmass to reach them. Vatican City is the only country entirely inside a city. San Marino still relies on one of the world's oldest functioning republican constitutions. Now jump from borders to bones. In Rome, Santa Maria della Concezione dei Cappuccini is decorated with the remains of thousands of Capuchin friars. Skulls are stacked as walls. Vertebrae are arranged as chandeliers. Entire chapels are built from ribs and femurs, in patterns so precise they look like lace. The message spelled out in bone is blunt. What you are, we once were. What we are, you will be. So you can cross an international border inside a city, but Italy goes further. There is an Italian town that is entirely inside Switzerland, Campione d'Italia. For years, people there used Swiss francs, Swiss phone numbers, and Swiss license plates, while legally remaining Italian. You could drink an espresso, dial a Swiss number, pay in Swiss cash, and still be in Italy on paper. Meanwhile, the church runs its own courses in the paranormal. The Vatican literally trains exorcists. In Rome, priests from multiple countries sit in official classes on how to distinguish mental illness from what the church considers demonic activity. There is a handbook, procedures, and designated exorcists for dioceses. It is bureaucracy meets horror movie. Okay, this one sounds fake. Italy grew a brand new island in 1831, then lost it. Off Sicily, a volcano erupted out of the sea and formed Ferdinandia, also called Graham Island. Britain, France, Spain, and the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies all rushed to plant flags. Before anyone could settle the argument, the island literally sank back under the waves. The volcano is still there, bubbling away underwater. Italy has quietly warned, if it ever resurfaces, it is Italian, full stop. Italy even built a fountain that gives out free red wine on purpose. In Caldari di Ortona, there is the Fontana del Vino, which runs for pilgrims walking the Camino di San Tommaso. It is not a festival stunt. It is a permanent wine fountain. Water comes from one spout, Montepulciano d'Abruzzo from the other. Remember the land moving? In Pozzuoli, near Naples, the ground does not just shake, it rises and sinks by meters over decades. The whole town sits on a restless caldera. In Roman times, the marketplace and port kept ending up too high above the sea or partly submerged. They rebuilt the same structures at different heights because the coastline would not stay put. Columns from the ancient Macellum still show drill marks from shellfish that once lived halfway up them. Food is policed too. Parmigiano Reggiano has a literal cheese identity card. Each wheel gets an edible casein label with a unique code, like a birth certificate. Consortia and police seize counterfeit Parmesan by the truckload, fake wheels downgraded, relabeled, or destroyed. Somewhere, there is a warehouse of arrested cheese. Now, for a river that disappears. Near Trieste, the Tamavo River runs above ground, then vanishes into a karst system, porous limestone, and travels mostly underground before re-emerging near the Adriatic coast. The Romans were so spooked by these hidden currents that they built shrines to whatever was happening beneath their feet. You watch calm water, then suddenly, nothing. Italy's obsession with stone gets mathematical. Florence's cathedral dome should have been impossible in the 1400s. Filippo Brunelleschi built it without full wooden scaffolding, using an interlocking herringbone brick pattern. Each brick presses into the next, so the curve holds itself up. Modern engineers still study it because nobody left a complete blueprint. You look up and see a solved riddle with no instructions. Even navigation gets weird. Venice basically functions without cars. Many addresses are just neighborhood names and numbers. Couriers rely on memory, on bridges, alleyways, and tides because GPS cannot tell you which hidden underpass or tiny canal steps you actually need. In many cases, when Italians needed a stadium, they simply reused a Roman one. In places like Verona, the ancient arena now hosts modern concerts and opera, with stage setups so elaborate they make some football stadiums look modest. Then there are towns the state protects even when nobody lives in them. Italy has thousands of borghi abbandonati, ghost villages emptied by landslides, emigration, or earthquakes. Some regions offer €1 houses, but with strict renovation rules. Keep the stone facades, use approved materials, finish within a deadline. You do not just flip a medieval ruin. The law treats the empty town like a museum you are allowed to move into. Fire above, deep science below. Under Gran Sasso in Abruzzo, Italy, one of the world's biggest underground physics labs was hidden inside a highway tunnel. While drivers race through rock, scientists in side chambers chase particles that almost never hit anything. Neutrinos and dark matter candidates, shielded by 1,400 meters of mountain. A quiet peak above, a science fiction bunker underneath. Now, from science to sanctioned chaos. Florence still plays a sport that looks like a riot with a referee, calcio storico. 16th century rules, no substitutions, and almost anything goes, including rugby, wrestling, and bare-knuckle brawling, all on sand in front of Santa Croce. 4 neighborhoods, 1 battered trophy, and yearly injuries, in what is technically a game. Even the ski slopes cannot escape Italian border weirdness. In the Cervinia and Zermatt area, you can start a run in Italy and cruise right into Switzerland using the same lift pass. Ski patrols switch language mid-slope. One fall on the wrong side of a marker, and technically you have crashed in another country. If that all feels unhinged, we're not done. Now we go under, into catacombs, incorrupt saints, secret codes baked into pizza, and pasta with legal guardians. Let's start this stretch with a body that refuses to play by normal rules. In Lucca, the body of St. Zita has been on display for centuries and has not fully decayed. Pilgrims still line up in the Basilica di San Frediano to see her lying under glass, skin and features eerily preserved. Italy has a word for this: incorruptible. It is not a medical term, it is a religious one. The line between miracle and microbiology here is thin and very public. Italy hides secret codes in pizza. Neapolitan pizzaioli cut tiny scoring lines in the dough before baking. To you, it is just a round of bread. To them, those cuts show hydration, fermentation time, and where the dough came from on the bench. And then there is the law. Pizza Napolitana STG is a protected style under EU rules, with legal specs for flour, proofing, and even how high the cornicione should puff. Break the rules, and legally you are not serving real Neapolitan pizza. Here's a quick one. Italy has a flaming door to hell. In the Campi Flegrei and parts of the Apennines, you find vents that constantly leak hot gases. Locals have lit some of them, creating permanent tongues of fire that lick out of the ground. It looks supernatural, but it is just geology venting under your feet. Money has its own relics. In Siena, Monte dei Paschi claims roots back to the 1400s and is often labeled the oldest bank still operating. Its early statutes tied loans to local pasture revenues, literally using grazing rights and community wealth to guarantee credit. Medieval financial logic still echoes in the age of ATMS. Linguistically, some Italians don't technically speak Italian at home. In pockets of Calabria's Bovacia and Apulia's Graecia Salentina, you still hear Greco, a Greek-derived dialect with ancient Hellenic roots. People there sing folk songs and lullabies in a language that sounds like someone time-traveled classical Greece into southern Italy and just stayed. Then you've got infrastructure that refuses to retire. In Apulia, parts of the Acquedotto Pugliese, the giant aqueduct that brought water to the dry south, now double as cycling and walking paths. You ride a bike on top of what used to be a hidden lifeline, following the same gravity-fed route water took for kilometers. Medieval toll collectors also got creative. In some Italian cities, including around Florence, certain bridge crossings were taxed by what passed over them, by wheel count and by load, and sometimes even judged by the shadow at specific sun angles. Your cart's outline became part of your tax calculation, one way to turn sunlight into revenue. Animals even get civic status. In Abruzzo, Marsican brown bears are so protected that specific bears get nicknames and legal files. Damaging their habitat or harassing them can lead to penalties tougher than some traffic violations. You are basically sharing the municipality with a furry, semi-official resident. And food heresy? Fettuccine Alfredo as you know it, with heavy cream, garlic, and parsley, is basically foreign in Italy. In Rome, Alfredo is just pasta al burro, butter and parmigiano, emulsified into a silky sauce. The global cream bomb version is seen as a tourist mutation. In places like Gragnano, pasta has its own legal code. The IGP rules specify the bronze dyes, drying times, and humidity windows. Inspectors snap strands to check for the rough, porous texture that holds sauce. Dry pasta that fails the texture test can be rejected, even if it looks perfect to you. You've now seen saints that do not rot, wine fountains, vanishing rivers, bone architecture, flaming ground, border-jumping ski runs, and pasta with legal guardians. So what is actually going on here? Italy hides its strangest truths in plain sight, underfoot, in recipes, in street names nobody questions. If you want more stories that sound like they cannot be real, subscribe now, drop your favorite fact in the comments, and watch the France episode next.